What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Groomer podcast. I'm your host, Alex Martin, and today we are here with a husband and wife daily grooming expert duo. It is freaking awesome. You guys can tell I'm excited today. I have here Chris and Emily Elias. They have been cranking for 7 years now with a total of 14 vans spread across Long Island and Florida. They are the world's best Long Island-based mobile pet grooming service. Chris is the businessman and Emily the dog whisperer of the crew. And we have them here today to share how they've grown from 0 to 14 vans as a family business. Chris and Emily, I'm super stoked you guys are here. The first thing I've noticed is I don't have my Ruff Life Mobile hoodie on right now.
So excuse me. One. I got you.
I love it, guys. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me here, guys. I mean, no, and I think it's super fitting too to even start with that. Like, I love your guys' branding. I love the merch you have. The vans look absolutely stunning. The website is beautiful. I can tell it's very intentional. And so, I want you guys to give us some background, how you guys started Ruff Life, and then when branding kind of came into play. Was that kind of off the bat where like, hey, we're gonna make everything look beautiful, or was it kind of an afterthought?
No, that was from the beginning where she was in grooming, and once we wanted to start the business, I knew that we wanted to have an upscale luxury look to it because that didn't exist in that field, in that industry. It was all cartoons. To this day, it's still all cartoony and very kiddie and just all different colors, and it's nothing really that looks and sparks a professional look. So I knew that the only way to be different is to be very professional, have that fully wrapped truck with those earth tone colors, and really make it a warm environment, very inviting and eye pleasing, and all shirts embroidered, and nice business cards with the metallic foil and all that bougie content.
More modern look, because even though we love our dogs, it's the clients who's paying for it anyway.
When the clients
100%.
want our service, even down to the credit cards, where we were back in 2017, 16, when we first started, there wasn't another company doing everything on the iPad, taking credit card payments, filling out waivers, signing at the door, completely
Apple
paperless.
Pay with your iWatch now.
Yeah, completely
very modernized.
Completely paperless from the beginning, and it's only gotten tenfold now to being able to do everything online and just having it where it's seamless for the clients, because that's the world that we're living in now.
I love it. You guys are the Apple of dog grooming. It's freaking awesome. No, but I mean, it is important, and obviously branding is something that Chris, being a businessman, we can kind of dive into. But before that, Chris, you said Emily, you were a dog groomer before you guys started the Ruff Life. Give me a quick, 0 to 30 on how long you've been grooming, kind of what's your shtick? Are you a short-coated breeds girl? I saw your guys' little mini earlier. Kind of give me the.
So I've been grooming for 15 years. I was a dog trainer for 2 years before that. I worked for a corporate. I worked my way up into salon management position. But, it's corporate world. It's like you're getting bossed around by the store manager and the district manager who has nothing to do with grooming. And they're trying to put their 2 cents in where that they shouldn't. So we decided to start our own company.
And there's no growth. You're not really reaping any rewards with corporate. You're just basically making them money, and that's the end of that. And you're getting paid very little, and you're just a number to them. And, she didn't like that. I didn't like that. If she's that hard of a worker, I recognize how hard she worked, how much she put into it. And that's where I said we should start, our own business and, reap the rewards later. And, kind of got her out of corporate thinking it was just going to be a hobby. One van, just go out, groom a couple of dogs, make as much money as you were, and work a little bit less. And you got a helper, and the helper wanted her own van, and then you're helpless, and then you need another helper.
Yeah, we're big hustlers.
So
it's just like there's
the cycle
just
repeated.
1, 2 dogs. No, it's like
Non-stop.
17 dogs in one day. I'm like,
yeah.
beating myself up, get a helper, train the helper, get another helper, and so. Before we know it, like 2 years in, like we had 3 trucks. We're like, okay, we're maxed out. 3 trucks is crazy because at that point in time, like we were like 3 of like 7 trucks on the island. So we already had like that majority, and, but we kept on growing. And then, COVID.
5 trucks in March of 2020. We had 4 or 5 trucks in March of 2020. So in 3 years, we had 4 trucks, and then COVID hit, and that was it. We were getting a truck every like 3-4 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So we haven't even bought a truck in like 2 years. So yeah, it's been like, it went from 4 to 14 like within like a year and a half. Like it was just beyond. Yes, COVID definitely propelled it.
So, even before we get up to COVID, I'm curious why. So, Emily, you worked in corporate, which is, you're in a brick and mortar salon, you're in a retail front.
Yeah.
Why was the first thought from you guys mobile versus, opening up brick and mortar retail, et cetera?
Well, I can answer that because I have had many brick and mortar restaurants, ice cream stores. I've had other businesses. So I know the dedication and the prison cell that you're sentenced to. Having that brick and mortar 7 days a week, 7 to 7, no questions asked. You're living there, eating, sleeping, breathing that building every day. There is no vacation. There is no make your own schedule. There is no, I want to go away for 3 days. I don't want to work this weekend. I want to do that. There is none of that. You have to be open. It's a brick and mortar. With mobile, that's where the flexibility comes in. If you don't want to work for 2 weeks, you just tell the clients you're fully booked those 2 weeks, and my next available is this day. So mobile gives the biggest flexibility, and I've been there, so I know the difference. And also, you're able to charge way more because it's specialty. It's coming to you. It's just a different world, really. So I've had also service businesses, and I was able to relate with that and be able to put that into motion forward. And thank God it went that direction and not brick and mortar, because probably would have been out of business during COVID.
And so that's what I was going to say. I mean, hindsight's 50-50, where you look at it now and it looks like a stroke of genius. But at the time, obviously you guys were incentivized by that with the flexibility.
We almost did a brick and mortar. We almost did a brick and mortar.
That's what I was going to ask. How close were you to doing it?
How close we were? You ready? How close we were? We prepaid a year's rent in advance to a landlord. Got the phone number, got the shirts, got the business cards, got everything done. By freak, the landlord just was playing games with us because it was an acai bowl place that wanted to go into that place, that wanted to pay more rent than us, a big franchise. So he kind of didn't sign the lease, and he jerked me around for I think 2 or 3 weeks, and I kind of got really aggravated. He was going to build us the store from scratch. After giving him a check for a year's rent up front, paid in full, no questions asked, knew my background, knew that it was going to be successful, gave me the blueprints, gave me everything. I basically called him up, and she was very upset because she's like, no, we'll just keep waiting. And I was like, I'm that guy that's just like a light switch. So when I woke up one day, I'm like, I'm going to get my money back. I called him up. I said, Scott, I'm coming to pick up my check today. He wasn't in. I went there. Secretary had the check sitting on the counter, took the check back, and just said, you know what? We're going to go mobile. We're going to go brand new, and we're not even going to look back. And that was it. And literally, we passed that guy's store every time we're driving, and we're like, damn,
it
like
was
this
still
is
vacant, by
it
the
was
way.
still vacant. Yeah.
acai bowl never went
Yeah,
through.
the building department shut them down because they had code violations, which obviously we would have had. Yeah, so we dodged a big bullet. And again, it's what's meant to be is always going to happen. I'm a big believer of that. So that's how close we were, because she really wanted brick and mortar, and I was like, you know what? She wants it. And we were only dating at the time, so we weren't married or anything. It was like me just trying to help her, but not persuade her fully to do something she wasn't fully about. And she came from a salon, so it kind of was like,
Yeah, I just didn't know.
She didn't know mobile and whatever.
We searched for mobile vans, but before we found wagon tails and all these really manufactured trucks, we were finding all these broken down vans that smell and all.
It wasn't the image we wanted.
Yeah.
And it was hard to swallow $100,000 investment on a van when, a brick and mortar is $1,500 a month and you're in, you know what I mean? So it was a big investment, big undertaking, big nut to crack, but we did it, and we priced according right away. And we said, this is what we have to price at to make it happen.
No, I love that. And again, I love how hindsight is 50-50. I mean, now it seems like, there's still a mismatch between the number of brick and mortar and mobile out there, but now mobile is so popular.
Listen, salons will be out of business one day. They just will not exist. Trust me when I say this. They've decreased greatly since COVID. As the newer generation, younger generation like us are buying dogs, you're not bringing your dog. If she wasn't a groomer and she had no choice, are you calling a mobile? Are you going to a shop? You're probably calling a mobile groomer, and you're going to do your research, and you're going to have a groomer come to you. When people are spending $2,000 to $10,000 on a dog, $100 bill doesn't matter in today's world. It's not like it used to be where these dogs, you would just get them and bring them to a shop and you couldn't afford and you didn't care and you tie them outside and no one cares and no one. These are like your family babies or your designer prize possession. So either way, you're not going to bring them to a shop and just let them sit in a cage for 5 hours to save $40, $50. So that outlook, and again, the shops are the newer groomers that are getting out of school. No offense, everyone was new at some point, but people just don't want that. The younger generation does not want that. They want the bougie, high class. I want the service at my stoop service. And that's why mobile has exploded. Everybody's popping up with mobile. I mean,
yeah, I feel like a lot of people did get spoiled with mobile during COVID, because, people didn't have a choice, but to use us when all the shops were shut down. And then once they started reopening, like, we retained a lot of those clients. All those clients were like, well, I'm not going to bring my dog back to the salon now. So we ended up keeping a lot of them. And I think that happened everywhere. And that's why the industry like blew up the way it did. Because that was never really a thing when we got in 7 years ago. It wasn't huge, which is why we didn't think of diving into mobile right away.
Very few people were in it. Even we started a how to succeed a mobile grooming group on Facebook. Had very few people join it. Very few people. Now the group has like 2,700 followers really quick. Like when I say only in the last year, probably at least 1,000 or more just in the last year or two joined that group. That we're getting like flooded with requests because that's just, again, everyone's calling. I mean, when you call Wagon Tails and you want a van, our first van, we called them up. We called them. We want a van. We flew down there. I think within like a week or two, we were down there and closing the deal on the van. Now you're on a wait list for 6 to 9 months for a van because they can't keep up with the demand.
Crazy.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. I mean, I love the hot take that brick and mortar is going to not exist one day. I mean, again,
it won't.
From the pet owner's perspective, it makes a lot of sense when I can have someone show up at my house, have a concierge service, have a one-to-one service as well. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The only thing you're sacrificing as a pet owner is cost, but it's 10 times more convenient.
Guess what? If a brick and mortar owner knew that they can charge anywhere from $100 to $200 for the same service they're charging 20, 30, or 40 for, and they don't even need 20 employees. They don't need to do 60 dogs in a day. They could just do 4 dogs and make $500, $600, and they don't even do that in their own brick and mortar shop. If they knew that, they'd be closing up shop tomorrow.
I mean, I feel like in order for a brick and mortar to be successful now, it's like you really need to be focusing on volume right now. And, a lot of brick and mortar shops are small mom and pop shops. And unfortunately, that's, PetSmart's going to succeed. Petco Grooming is going to succeed.
Well, they're not making money.
Well, they're doing
and
volume.
they're taking new groomers.
Yeah,
that's
those shops are always going to be around, and
But even Petco, even Petco's starting mobile in Texas.
Really?
Oh yeah, yes. Petco has units right now out on the road that is mobile grooming. Petco corporate.
I did not know that. That's
corporate,
wild.
Corporate trucks. Yes, they're doing a test market for like the last.
And honestly, I mean, that seems a little gutsy on Petco's part because if you are a groomer and you can learn how to run your own mobile van for corporate, I mean, why would you not go start your own at that point, right? Capital's then the only risk at that point.
Correct.
Yeah,
so
but
some people don't want that. Some people don't want that.
Yeah, some people don't want that. So talk to me about this. You guys are about 14 vans now. You said you grew, I think 3 vans in the first couple of years, and then it seems like every 3 to 4 weeks during COVID. If I remember my research correctly, I think you guys went on Money Court about
we did.
with Kevin O'Leary about this very question. That is so freaking funny. So give me what was going on? You guys went to Money Court at what point in time? You guys were trying to debate whether to go more mobile versus brick and mortar or what?
Yeah. Basically that exact scenario where we wanted to go to Florida and put a truck in Florida and take another truck and put it in Arizona and, other
so
key
basically
states.
It was between spreading out mobile and dropping mobile trucks in other states around the United States, or 2, sticking in Long Island where all of our client base is and just offering more services over there. So that's basically what the whole debate was about. And at the end of the day, he actually sided kind of with both of us, because he did say, honestly, stick in Long Island because that's where your client base is. But you don't even need a brick and mortar. Just keep on getting.
Keep buying vans. So basically, he said buy more vans because why even do brick and mortar if you could keep buying more vans and keep putting. And at that time, I think we had 8 or 9 when we went on Money Court right in the beginning of COVID. So I think we had 8 or 9. And he just said, like, just keep buying more vans, put them in Long Island. You're already there. You're already servicing there. You already know there. Everything's there. Like, why would you not put more? I'm like, all right, I guess that makes sense. So we ended up taking that money and buying more trucks and putting them in Long Island. And we threw one in the mix in Florida because
love it.
we could.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, hey, we need
Right.
a reason to go down to Florida. So talk to me about when is it the right time to get another van? Like, how do you guys think about that?
Well, we've always had a very easy formula from the beginning. So because these vans are very expensive now more than ever, and I had the same outlook from when we bought our first van that was, $87,000 versus the ones today that are $137,000 for the same exact van. So it's even more the outlook now. People think more vans means more success. Like, it's very easy to buy vans. Anyone can buy a van. All you got to do is just call up Wagon Tails, put your name on the list, and either have good credit or just have a little bit of money. So the thing is, we're the groomers for these vans. So, we have more groomers than vans. We've always had more groomers than vans. So from the beginning, she was working 4 or 5 days a week. So what do you do with the van on those 2 other days that it's not working? You find a groomer to work it part-time for 2 or 3 days, and you split one van up between 2 groomers. So when do you get a second van? You get a second van when your first van is running 7 days a week, 7 to 7, and if you have one mechanical breakdown, you're royally screwed. If you're feeling that type of way and you're grooming as many dogs as it possibly can, like, you literally are doing oil changes in front of customers' houses because there's no time to do them unless it's 10 o'clock at night, or in front of a client's house in between drying a dog and giving the dog back, then it's time to
You
get
have
a
not
second
done
van.
that.
Oh, we've done that to this day. We do that on the
All
regular.
the time.
We do all our service on the fly in front of clients' houses. Yes.
Yeah, we actually
We have a mobile-
maintenance.
we have a
fleet
mobile-
vehicle.
Mobile fleet maintenance vehicle that goes out and does oil changes and everything in front of clients' houses. We don't have a shop. We don't have any downtime. Our vans are out 7 days a week. We work 365 days a year because holidays don't matter, because you have people that don't celebrate some holidays and they choose to work. So our groomers pick and choose their own schedules. So for us, we've always maximized and Wagon Tails love that because they're like, you guys run your van. Like, you having 14 is the same as another company having 50, because the amount of dogs that you're grooming in there and the amount of groomers that you have running in those trucks, it's insane. So during COVID, we were doing night shifts, picking up starting at 4 p.m., working till like 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we did what we had to do. We couldn't ends. We just
You guys had the AAA of dog grooming built into your business.
basically, yeah, you could say that for sure.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, we get asked all the time about the expanding. I get asked that question probably on the regular. When is a good time to buy another van? And the question is, when that one is completely maxed out, or your 3 are maxed out, and you got 5 groomers, 3 trucks, and you just can't handle anymore, and you actually need another unit. That's when you buy one, because buying vans is easy, like we said.
100%. I mean, easy outside of, you have to wait the time.
Yes, but you would know, because as you're filling up, you would call and put your name on the list, and if not, then you would just say, hey, pass me on this one, put me on the next one. So they're flexible to work with you, but you kind of figure it out where, you'll still be able to make it happen. But I mean, I've known people that have 3 vans and 2 groomers, and I'm like, how do you have 3? Like, that
makes no sense.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No. I mean, and that makes sense. And I think what separates the hobby versus the business here is people that have 1 van and they're over, like, let's call it their average groomers per van is over 1, right? Where this, I get it. People have families and want to have time off, etc. And if you're putting somebody else in that van to keep it running at that 4 p.m. shift, etc., that's when it's from hobby to business mode, where it's we're getting 12 hours of this van at least a day.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, you need to find a groomer first. I feel like a lot of people, they want to expand. They have the business is running off the hook. Let me get a second truck, and then look for a groomer. But the groomer is usually the hardest part.
The groomer is the hardest part to find.
That's crazy.
And in order to find that right groomer, and everything always stems back to the main topic that we brag about all the time, it goes back to pricing. So in order to find the right groomer, groomers want to make a certain amount of money. So what sets us apart from anybody else? Very simple. We are the most expensive mobile groomer on the East Coast. Why do people want to work for us? Because we charge the most amount of money and we pay commission. So with that being said, you're definitely down to make the most amount of money working for our company versus anybody else charging $20, $30, $40 less for the same exact service. So when you are that upscale groomer that's charging, you're not going to have we don't have a problem finding employees.
Yeah, we don't have a wait list.
We're actually picking and choosing who we want.
Crazy.
Yeah.
A wait list. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the pricing then before we talk about I want to dive into how you guys are training these people, but before we do that, you're attracting them through the pricing. They're gonna essentially the pitch is you're gonna make the most and have the best quality of life working for us. Talk to me about how you think about pricing. You guys have obviously been at it for long enough now where I'm sure you've learned what works, what doesn't, how to raise your prices, how to set your prices in the first place. How do you guys set your prices? How do you raise your prices? How do you think about that? Obviously, most expensive. I get that, but
well, most expensive because we live in the most expensive place in the country.
Yeah,
also,
well, when we first started, we had no idea how to price because there was no one to compare.
The only thing, and I always use this model. It's just the easiest way to explain it because everyone lives in different parts of the country, and everyone's always going to have a different input. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to one thing. It comes down to supply and demand. So if your phone is ringing off the hook and you have a wait list of clients, I'm sorry, but you're too cheap. It is what it is. Like that means you're too cheap. So you need to raise your prices.
Right.
I don't care where you live. I don't care where you live.
Willing to pay $10.
We don't have a wait list. We don't have a wait list. So we have the exact number of clients we need to service. So when we start realizing that you call up and I can't get you in for a week or more, it's time for a price increase, $5. What happens is I eliminate some people because at $5, even believe it or not, at $5, when you're at 160 for a small dog, $5 will break some people and just say, I'm out, I'm done. So they'll drop and leave us. And that's fine because there's new ones waiting to pay the $5 increase. So we'll switch them out basically. And that happens in time. And there's really no time. We've had 2 price increases in 6 months, and then we've gone a year and a half with no price increase. So for us, we use supply and demand being the factor of, COVID hit, no one was driving, gas ships were sitting in the middle of the ocean, and gas was $1.06 by us. And then now everybody's driving on the road and gas is $4. What happened? What? Nothing happened. There was just a surplus of gas. No one wanted it. So they were trying to give it away and no one still wanted it. So same thing goes with that factor. And I always use even Uber. You can order an Uber and, go to any random parking lot and order an Uber and it's $15 to get home. But if there was a concert playing in that parking lot and 800 people wanted an Uber, that Uber is going to be $100. And it's only because they only have 30 Ubers in that area. So they're going to bang you out. Basically, they're going to get the most for the service that they're providing. So we use supply and demand.
I love that. I love that. I had John Hewitt on. He is the owner of Zoom and Grooming, and he had a great line where he was like, if you don't have people telling you that your prices are too expensive, then your prices are not too expensive.
Correct.
Then you need to raise your prices, right? Yeah, you can't please everyone. And I think there's this innate fear in all of us as humans of displeasure and making somebody upset. And it's as a business owner, you have to find that line. And I love that you say we do it by supply and demand. There's no wait list because it's okay, if we start having a wait list, we need to charge more.
I do understand as a groomer, and a lot of mobile groomer business owners are groomers and we're not business owners. And it's kind of hard because it's such a personalized service to tell Rose, who's on a fixed income, that I'm sorry, I have to increase your price for, little Frankie here. And, because it's such a personalized service.
But Rose is eating filet mignons every night, so I don't give a shit. I'm just saying. She's not helping pay my kids' school. She's not, paying for my kids, whatever. It's it doesn't,
right.
You have to, eggs are $10 a dozen at the supermarket. No one feels bad when the cashier is scanning my $7 gallon of milk. I don't know.
Everything's gone up. So.
Everything has gone substantially up. So you have to look at it from a business mind. You understand? So when you go to the supermarket, you're the cashier. The cashier is trained to just scan items. There's no feelings behind it. They just scan items and they go. So you're the groomer. Take your feelings out of it and just groom the dog, get paid, and leave. And that's why they come work with us, because they're hiding behind the company.
Love it. Talk to me tactically. I'm a groomer listening to you tell me this. I'm you know what? Heck yeah, Chris has empowered me. I want to raise my prices. How do I do that? What do I do?
No problem. So I'm going to ask you first question is, you're fully booked. How many clients do you have? How many clients? What are you charging for a small dog? So I'm going to try to get to where I can find out, are you charging $100 minimum to go to somebody's house? No, I do dogs for $75. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you know anyone in America that's coming to your house to perform any service other than lawn cutting that's going to come to your house and do anything for under $70? A plumber, an electrician, spackler, painter, anyone to do any type of service that you can't do. Change an outlet, change a sink, faucet. No one's coming to your house for under $150 just to show up. And then we're going to add parts and everything else. So you're a skilled professional. So once you drill that in people's head that you're not, you're no different than an electrician or a painter, right? You can't paint a room or you can't change an outlet, just like I can't groom a dog. So if I can't do it and I have to pay you to do it, why should your service hourly rate be any different than a plumber, electrician, painter, spackler, high-end molding guy, and any type of service that's out there? So the average service out there is no less than $100. I don't care where you live, in what state, in what farm. There's still, the electrician's still charging $100 to show up to your door. So once you find out that people are charging less than that, which a lot of groomers, believe it or not, are still charging less than that, and when they realize that they could get more, they wake up and they start charging more. And I always say, like, take your 10 worst clients that you want to get rid of, and let's just bump them up 20. And I actually did this to a girl who was literally about to shut down her business. And I gave her the advice. I said, take 20 clients, bump them each $20. Okay. If you lose half of them, you're still ahead of the game. If you lose 3/4 of them, you're still even. So she did that. I think she lost like 2 or 3 out of the 20, and everyone else paid the $20 increase.
And I think what you said, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a service that they cannot perform on their own.
You're perfect, 100%.
And I mean, if you're at market rate, which, again, is around $100 to be a service professional, then what are they going to do? You are forcing them then to be inconvenienced to go find somebody else, or they're just going to accept that, hey, everything is rising, all prices are rising, and they're going to say, okay, that sounds okay, that sounds fair.
For their baby that you've been grooming for 3 years, I think you have the biggest lock in that, is that you've been grooming their dog for 2, 3, 4 years. You think they're going to go somewhere else to save $20? Let me tell you something. And if they did, you don't even want those people. So if an electrician came here and quoted me $200 to change an outlet, I'm going to shop around to try to find maybe another quote or 2 or 3. But if I've been using this guy for 3 years and he's been coming here and he's honest and he does a great job and he tells me it's now $20 more for that outlet or $50 more, I'm just going to pay it. It's like, what am I going to go risk getting a new guy that might not know? And that's speaking of a non-specific, non-personal business. So when it comes to dogs, you can't, these groomers are so in control. They just have no confidence to even realize that. That's the biggest problem that I see. And I feel like they're just not confident to be able to say, hey, it's $20 extra, because they got their feelings in the way. And if you put your feelings to the side, you'll be way more successful.
Love that. Emily, I'm curious, on the training side, when you guys have new groomers, new vans, etc., is there a huge ramp up that needs to happen between someone who has maybe groomed in brick and mortar or been the helper for someone versus, hey, this is, I'm going to put air quotes around this, but this is my van. Like, I'm the main groomer in this van now. Is there a big ramp up that's different there? Or is it kind of just, hey, nope, they're basically the same. We just need to kind of show you X, Y, and Z.
Well, so for the Ruff Life, we only hire experienced groomers. So we're only looking to hire groomers with at least 2 years of experience. The reason being, because we're charging a premium. We're charging $160 for a small dog, so we want to make sure the groomer knows what they're doing. But as far as transitioning from mobile to from a storefront to mobile, even if they're coming from a mobile, we always have our own training that will put these girls into training for at least a couple of weeks to a couple of months, because it's not just the grooming. We want to make sure that they're performing these services to our standards and they're holding the reputation of our business. Because you have one groomer who, they might be an amazing groomer, but their service sucks. They can't drive the truck. They're swerving all over the road. There's a lot of other factors besides grooming, and we want to make sure that they hold up to our reputation. The reason why we got so busy so quickly is we have like over 500 5-star reviews.
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
1,000, and that is one thing I noticed.
And Yelp and everything like that.
How?
We literally call our clients, and that was one thing in the beginning when we first started the business, because I knew she was a 10 groomer. Every night I'd come home, and it's very important for the little, especially the single groomers. Now it's less important for us, I should say, because whether we have 860 or 1,400, the number doesn't matter. It's so many, it's irrelevant. It's a lot. It's a lot. So the trust factor is already proven. For the single groomer around town who's trying to get new clientele, that's where it matters the most. And if you're the sole owner operator like she was in the beginning, I'd come home every night. I'd call up all her clients. Hey, how was Emily? Did she show up on time? Obviously. Did she do a great job? Obviously. I knew all the answers. oh, do you mind if I send you a link for a quick 5-star, a quick review, honest review. If it's 4-star, leave a 4. If it's 5, it's 5, whatever it is. Send them the link, boom, review, boom, review, boom, review, boom, review, boom, 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 boom. And that's how you get people to basically trust you. Because at the end of the day, you go on Amazon, you buy something for $4, you're reading reviews for a half hour on it. Okay.
I mean, and even now, like now that we have, close to 20 employees, we have, we run little mini competitions with all of our
who can get the most reviews,
employees.
who can persuade their clients to leave the most reviews. Like we do things, and even it's just to drive up engagement between the groomers. It doesn't really matter again, but we have a ton of reviews, but reviews are very important because that's really what sets you apart from just trusting that a girl that has 36 5-star reviews, I'm going to hire her over for the same price or even 20 more than somebody who has 2 reviews or
Reviews are
1
huge
review.
in today's world.
Yeah, today everyone's trusting reviews over anything, especially when it comes to that.
And especially for something like this, where let's tag this on to your pricing, your pricing conversation, where it's like, okay, let's assume you raise prices. Well, now they have the choice. Will they pay an extra $20 for the most reviewed, highest starred groomer in town? Yes, absolutely.
100%. And we've had that outlook from day one when she was the only groomer, and I'd come home and I'd be calling up all the clients every single night, call them on the phone one at a time, have a nice combo, and then email them the link to the reviews. And we still
You're a good man, Chris.
We still do that though.
I love that. And see, that's what it takes. I think the difference between
that is the difference
between it being a business owner and like you guys care about your business, you want to grow your business, and it's part of your family, really.
Right.
So you care about.
It's not just money. I mean, we've been raising our business because we love every single groomer, and if we don't love any groomer on the team, I'm sorry, but you got to go.
Yeah, they don't make the cut long. They don't stay
family.
long. It doesn't happen. Yeah,
so,
we are one big family, and we swear by that, and that's how we treat them.
If you don't trust your employees, then don't keep them around, and vice versa. If you don't trust your employer, then why are you working for them? It's right. You.
So one thing that I wanted to ask you guys before we wrap up here, it's something that's stuck in my head since you said it. You said you had a wait list for people wanting to work for you guys. I'm curious, how are most groomers finding you guys? Is it social media? Because you guys are like posting a lot.
At this point, well, first of all, at this point, it's Long Island. Long Island is not that big in reference to other places around the country. So it's very small. So when they see the one big monster company that's booming with 20 employees, with people with kids and married and houses, and they know that they're paying their bills. So like, everyone wants to work at that fancy steakhouse because they know that they're going to make serious money because each table turnaround is, $350 a person average. So it's the same concept that, why would they go work for a company like Zoom and Groom or any other startup company that has 1 or 2 vans in our area? They're not going to have the clientele we have. We've been established 7 years.
And a lot of the groomers also, they're like friends of one of our
They're friends of friends.
Because our employees are ranting now to their other groomer friends. Oh my gosh, they're awesome to work for. I make so much money. And they're ranting and raving to all their friends. Happy. And, they're all pouring in.
Actually, the last one that we just spoke to, she was told during COVID to come work for us because of how amazing we are and how happy her friends were. And she's like, I'm 3 years late to the party, but I guess it's never too late. So she just applied and she's in training now with one of our girls. So
I love that. Lastly, one thing I like to do is kind of bring it back to earth a little bit here. What's one thing that's been challenging for you guys as you've been growing, as you've been working on your business? I know it's not all puppies and rainbows, as nothing ever is. What's one thing that you guys are, it's hard. That's hard.
Separating business and life, because it just became part of your life. And no matter where you are, no matter if you're sitting by palm trees, in a pool, on a jet ski, on a boat, the business is attached to you mentally, emotionally. You're working constantly, no matter where you are and what you're doing, whether it's at your kid's soccer game or, out to dinner, your phone's constantly blowing up and you're constantly working. So it's
tough. I mean, especially as a family business too. I mean, you guys work, live, everything's together.
Yeah, everything's sleep, eat, breathe this business, and that's all we have, and that's all we've built, and that's what we do.
Love it. Well, Chris and Emily, I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah,
you guys are freaking rock stars. I would love to have you guys join the community private Facebook group because I'm sure that I am not the only one that had questions to ask you guys.
I'm good.
Once
Yeah,
people
totally.
hear this and they hear your hot takes, Chris, I mean, I'm gonna have to go rewatch this episode
Let's
afterwards.
go. Let's go. We'll do part 2 soon, please.
No, we need to do part 2 soon, guys. Seriously, you guys are awesome. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. I
Yeah.
want to give you guys a chance to shout out a place to find you guys, whether that be website, social media channels, whatever it may be.
The Ruff Life Mobile Grooming.com or the Ruff Life Mobile Grooming Facebook, Instagram, or if you are a groomer other than your private Facebook group, which I'm sure is amazing, we also have a Facebook group, How to Succeed in Mobile Grooming as well. So people could always join that if they wanted to get more
Awesome.
insight on a small little community level as well.
Awesome. No, that sounds great.
All right.
I'm going to go check that out right after this
Yeah,
as well.
totally.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. That's the pod.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was so nice talking
absolutely.
to you.
Yeah, nice talking to you, Alex. And